All right, and then there's always the traditional talking over the music.
Okay. Right.
Well, not just talking over the music, talking about talking over the music. Yeah.
Go later. Sessions.
Yeah. 3 layers. You ever tried the tres leches cake? Yeah. It's like a Mexican with cream milk. So good.
No.
That's the type of Inception movie I want to watch. A movie about cake. I don't know. Is
3 layers within the cake, and you have to travel through them.
All right, we're officially
with a fork. Yes. Just a guy eating a cake at a table. It's a short film.
Find the deeper meaning.
Yeah. Finn. You got it. Finn. F-I-N. That's how that ends.
All right, Keith, you want to give us the intro?
Was that not it?
No, I meant
Finn? This is the end of everything.
Might as well be.
Yeah. Hi. We're the not hyped Umverate. We've been watching stuff about summer games, but none of them are very good. And generally we're just disappointed with everything. And so we're not here to rage like people do on YouTube, but we're not raging, we're just disappointed.
Morning, everyone.
Yeah. So we're also here to talk about good beer and video games. Yay! We're not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly. Any beers or breweries we may be talking about aren't sponsoring us because we're too small a channel and they don't care.
sad face.
Selfish.
Hashtag sad face. Right, we're here this week to talk about the Unreal Engine 5 reveal and also Ghosts of Tsushima, which had apparently no gameplay at all in it. It was all in-engine cutscenes. You don't actually do anything in the game. But I'm here because everyone's getting so hyped about everything. I'm here to give you some reasons as to why Unreal Engine 5 and Ghost of Tsushima are absolute trash. But first, we'll go round, see how everyone is. Daniel, how's things in Lincoln?
Not too bad. I'm off to work next Friday to do my day in for the key workers before the schools open on the 1st of June. So the all full plans ahead for that. So we'll see how that goes next week. There's a big
or not, as the
hoo-ha.
case may be. Are you having to throw all of your equipment away or decontaminate everything?
Well, basically, as a scientist, I was in the meeting and I asked a lot of questions that other people didn't ask, but I did get a few of them message me afterwards and say good questions, because I think they do need to be asked about sterilizing and all that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, everyone's an incubator, whether they're going to die from it or not. And actually, some of our staff are quite vulnerable. I'm lucky I'm in the age group that aren't as vulnerable, but some of our elderly staff.
I could totally see that in a teacher's meeting, like all like the PE teacher and the math teacher like looking over at like, is the chemistry teacher gonna? You probably have some good questions. Let's just calm down. Let's listen to these guys. Yeah, I can see that totally happening.
So, but apart from that, yeah. So I'm looking forward to going. Actually, also I signed up for the Good Samaritan app, so I did my two things this week, Goodwill things this week. I went to the pharmacy and picked up 2 lots of prescriptions for people shielding, some old geezers shielding in my local area. That felt quite.
Did you keep
actually.
The prescriptions though? Were they any
good?
No.
I did deliver them. I didn't keep them.
Coding, wicked.
The only reason he didn't keep him, he didn't get the good shit. So he's like, fuck.
But yeah, actually, yeah, it's all going okay. I've become addicted to a game thanks to Matt, which I don't know if it's thanks to or not. I have a announcement that the first time I ever bought a microtransaction in a game is now because of Matt. I bought the Hunt Pass on was it Wednesday night because I was level 50. I know. So $9.99 I've spent to this game, and now I feel obliged to play the thing. Never mind.
Matt, would you like to tell everyone what game you have pushed onto society? that's leaching out into the rest of the world.
Dauntless, which I didn't think would catch on quite like it has. I've enjoyed the game. I've played it since it came out, but I'm only level 21. Dan has surpassed me in the last 2 weeks and is now 25. You said 23.
Wait a minute, Dan.
Matt,
Didn't
not
you?
even 2 weeks?
Dan,
It's 5
didn't
days,
you
Matt.
start?
Sunday was when I started.
Didn't you lose your progress
So
and
we
have to
did a week,
start
yeah.
over as well?
Yeah, so I went to level 9 and then had to restart, and I'm back
So-
to level 23.
So it's like you might as well be level 30 at this point. It's insane.
Yeah.
I am worrying Russ. Russ is nervous. I'm going to catch him.
What level is Russ?
He's
31, I think now.
Yeah,
I
You're
bet
gonna catch him.
he was all welcoming and helpful to us, and then all of a sudden he just sees Danny. He's like, "Fuck that guy!" Like I'm start giving you like
I
incorrect
said if
information.
we could create our own guild, and Matt was saying, no, we'll just jump onto Emmanuel's guild.
Yeah.
And so well done for speaking on behalf of your other friend who probably knows nothing about this.
Yeah.
And
I think he knows that we're gonna hijack the guild.
Russ is...
two, he's going to kick us. He's going to kick Dan out of the guild when he starts saying, "No, everyone needs to get to level 30 this weekend, so that we can do this raid."
Russ has got the rights to invite people to the guilds, so he's literally just invited everyone into the guild.
Yeah.
Which is quite hilarious. There we go. But no, the good thing about Dauntless, which I will say, is you can, well, no matter what level you are, you can go down, you can reduce your armor, or you can play with your top armor with your friends on the lower level, which is quite good. You're not actually, and you can bring them up to the higher level grades as well.
Yeah,
challenge, which is actually quite a nice mechanic.
I would say the levels are more about your quest progression than your level in game. So, like the level that your armor and weapons are, is more. It has more to do with how well you do in the fight against the monster than your overall level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and Russ, I've got the same level armor and weapons on our strongest one, but he's got more gear that is that level, whereas I've got one set of gear. So that's why he's the higher level than me.
Keith's just dipped out. He's done. He's like, all right, I'm out of this.
Yeah.
I'm out of this free to play discussion.
Thanks a lot, Dan. You fucking scared him away.
And I don't know if we're doing the beer as well, but the beer I'm drinking is Saucy Session IPA. Because I know that Evan likes a Session IPA.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's the only beer I drink.
What can we talk about that Keith won't let us talk about now? I mean, how does everybody feel about Tony Hawk?
As an honest response, if it's the exact same game with better graphics, I'm down. I'm totally gonna play.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Yeah, I think I never played the old remasters that they did for the 360. I didn't know that it was so shit because the controls were not what they were supposed to be. It didn't feel like the old game, and that's why it failed. Yeah. I wasn't aware of that.
You totally missed an opportunity to talk about something that I don't care about.
Damn it. He was testing us.
Well,
we're talking about Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't care about Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Are you a closet Tony Hawk fan?
I'm really confused.
Yeah, you got to be careful around these parts.
I don't care that it's right. This is a topic for another day.
I agree.
Rebrand and do sequel.
I'm actually kind of dreading much point in wearing a mask unless everybody else does.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I bought some on Amazon, which from my personal experience, I know that there's no way that I can guarantee that it meets a minimum safety standard. But the reason I bought some is at some point I'm going to have to start traveling for work again, and I will be using a train. So I'm not doing it for me. I'm probably doing it to reassure other people. But I know there'll be some ignorant tossers on the train. Just the funniest thing I saw the other day, I was in the supermarket and there was a woman who had her trolley across the aisle, and she had her back to the trolley looking at something on the shelves. There was this old guy who just came up and just went,
oh, no.
fucking ran.
That's horrible.
It's like all you can do is just run, just fucking bolt.
But she was obviously blocking his way to the Jacob's cream crackers. So yeah, that was quite funny. Right, who haven't I done?
Yeah,
Evan, how are things in Japan?
They lifted the state of emergency on like 47 of the prefectures, but Osaka, where I work, it's just south of Kyoto, is still under it. So I don't start school till June 1st. However, I do go in every Tuesday, and I do take the train.
Aren't you a bit old to go to school?
Hey, dude, it's like 21 Drum Street all over again. They don't even know. I'm in there. I don't even have to wear a uniform. Like, this kid, what is he, like 16, 17? So things are going well. I do take a train to work, though, once a week. Luckily, masks are a big thing in Japan and the Southeast Asia, and they always have been. So I would say when this all started, like 90% of the population has been wearing them. Even when I go to the supermarket, it's weird to not see someone with a mask. People have been stockpiling and everything. So that's reassuring, I suppose. I don't know. But so far, so good. Online classes are a pain in the ass, but can't really complain about that. It's just a slightly different form of teaching. So far, so good.
Yeah, go with the fucking modern times. Soon everyone's going to be taught from virtual classrooms, and we won't need so many teachers.
Yeah, I'll be redundant, and then we'll see what happens there.
Me too. Then we'll start our mastermind enterprise, Evan, around the world when we can't teach anymore.
Wait, hey, let's workshop off camera.
Yeah.
Right, Beers. I'll go first. I want to move the conversation along. I have Loretta. Yes, you are reading that correctly.
No, I'm not. What does it say?
Passion fruit. Oh, you've gone for the passion fruit.
For someone who says he hates fruit beers, you do tend to try a lot of them. Yeah.
Do you know what I did? I bought it because of the can design. Didn't actually read what it said.
Oh, so you haven't had it yet. This is a live
live
reaction.
And it's from a Norwegian brewery. So somewhere synonymous with passion fruit.
Yeah. That's what I think about when I think about nerd. I was going to say nerd. The thing is, I almost said Norwegia, and I stopped myself when I think about Norway.
It's a tropical place, right?
Norwegia, yeah. It's one of those, yeah. It's somewhere around there, the Bermuda Triangle. I can barely get that out of my mouth.
Right, so what have we got? It's not particularly strong, 4.7%. Does it actually contain any fruit? No. Interesting.
Wow.
Is it? If it does, it's because they're writing. The way they're writing the ingredients list. It goes English, then I'm assuming German, then I'm assuming Norwegian, and then they're doing one after the other. So it's water, then aqua, then loads of other stuff that I can't possibly pronounce. But it does actually smell very fruity.
Must be the hops that they use then.
Very clean tasting and very subtly fruity. Quite pale. Very pale, actually. Actually, it's quite nice. It's a refreshing. It would be nicer. It would be nicer on a very hot day. A nice cool,
like a beer garden. Which we can't go to.
That was far more disappointing than this whole week's been.
Yeah.
I agree.
Artwork by The Shallow Tree, who you can follow on Twitter at The Shallow Tree. I actually really like the can design.
The can design is really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, so that's me. This is definitely a session beer. Summertime session beer. Recommend. It's a Beerumverate recommendation.
Oh, nice. Start handing those out.
I'll get to cracking on the graphic design.
I did show one of the beers I'm drinking. The other beer I think we had on a few weeks ago, but I can't remember. It's the Siren with the purple design. I feel like we did. Did you drink that a few weeks ago, Keith? Maybe not.
No,
I
not me.
made that from my head. Oh, okay. Well, Siren.
I like that too.
There we go. IPA. Nice. I like the can design. That's why I bought it. And it's 5.6%. It's quite nice tasting. Yeah, it's good. Up with it.
Cool.
All right, I'll.
What flavor Kieran the Strong have you got this evening?
This whole gimmick thing it's run its course. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Well, the funny thing is like only when you told me, Evan, you don't have to drink the entire thing, did I realize you don't have to drink the entire thing. Like I've had the worst headaches waking up the past couple episodes, so I'm not doing it anymore. If I find one that's like a ridiculous flavor or something that might be funny, I'll put it on. But
it was that raspberry drink that did it for you last week, wasn't it?
Oh my god, I don't even remember what I had last time. So I'm drinking the old tried and true Mugi and hop, barley and hops, the Sapporo cheap shit. So
is that spelled the same as the way that Honda uses the word MUGEN?
No, it's a MUGI.
Oh, all right, okay.
Would be barley and hop. They always keep slapping because they have there's no way they can market this. It's like 3D TVs. They slap this kanji means new. All these companies are just slapping new on here. It's like, oh, we've like tweaked we added a little more barley and hops to this one, and it's absolute bullshit.
They're doing the same in England.
Yeah, so they do the same thing? Yeah. So I'm just drinking my go-to beer today. Nothing exciting.
Right, Liam, have you got anything today or not?
I have a can of Pepsi. No, I have nothing.
Is it cherry?
Coca-Cola last week. You're not showing any brand loyalty.
It is cherry, yeah.
Nice.
Brand loyalty.
It's a nice taste, that is. Pepsi Max
Right,
cherry.
so, Matt, have you got any honourable mentions? You're not drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning?
No, not drinking this morning. I did drink last night, though. If you follow me on Twitter, the two that I drank, you can see those. I did a couple of Sierra Nevada beers. One was their Electropical, which is a juicy IPA, which wasn't too bad. It was kind of citrusy, a little bit of coriander. And then the other one was their Hazy Little Thing IPA, which is a New England hazy IPA, which is really good. Both were north of 6%, I think. So definitely sessions.
Wow.
Sesh, brah.
Yeah.
Fucking sesh.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, we're waiting for all of the staggered reveals for all of the games that may or may not be coming out, either this year or next year, or in the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2,
10 years.
anytime in the next 3 to 5 years.
Optimistic.
Yeah.
But
they don't even know what they're doing.
I can reveal now the new graphics for Uncharted 5.
Yeah.
So obviously this is pretty early on in development. Obviously we're using the most up-to-date graphical engine that we can possibly design. I mean, these leaves have never looked more leafy.
Is this a Honey I Shrunk the Kids game, or are those leaves fucking huge? They're like as big as that girl.
It's called Perspective, Evan.
I'm sorry.
Keith, why is there a female protagonist?
It's not gonna sell.
I don't like that.
Because we're forcing our SJW values down everyone's throats. So not only will they be a woman, they'll also be, I don't know, left wing, and they at some point you can choose to dye their hair blue. The worst of all hair colors.
Hey, wait!
Probably be a lesbian as well. That would really annoy me.
I was going to throw that
slow
out
down.
there. Yeah.
You said dye their hair blue. You gotta slow down. I mean, progress works in increments, man. You're gonna scare everyone away.
And there's one part in the game where you have to actually go and vote, and horrible Dems, and there's no other votes, so the only people you can vote for are the Democrats.
What kind of game are we making?
Republicans
what
an
the
option.
Fuck is this game about?
But when you select Republican, it defaults to Democrat.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Right. So obviously we're joking, but there have been. We spoke about the Xbox reveals last week, and as much as people will want to say or have said that the Assassin's Creed Valhalla was a gameplay is because in-engine cutscene montage trailer is too long to put in a tagline.
Oh, they just shortened it down for. They only had so many letters on Twitter to tweet out there.
Yeah, I didn't
They put a
understand.
space between the words. It's a game that you play.
There you go.
I wasn't really understanding where Matt and Shane were coming from in regards to that, because they were like, there was gameplay. I was like, there wasn't, and I felt a bit bad for Mitch, because Mitch was definitely right. There was no gameplay in that. They were like, there was, and I was like, okay.
I kind of think as okay, what more do you expect? Maybe your expectations are too high, but if Ubisoft beforehand were coming out saying this is going to be the gameplay trailer, and the director of the game says on his official Twitter, this is the gameplay trailer, and also under his name it says gameplay trailer reveal, you expect to actually see some gameplay rather than just in-engine cutscene montage.
Right.
Right. So moving forward into the future, we've recently had the Unreal Engine 5 technical demo. And we've also had, most recently, the Ghost of Tsushima actual gameplay reveal. There was actual gameplay in it. You rode a horse, you made wind blow in a completely wrong direction to how wind works.
You stealthed a building.
But
you petted
before
the fox. You petted the fox.
You followed the fox and you prayed at a shrine.
But before everyone gets really excited, I'm here to give you some reasons why the Unreal Engine 5 and Ghost of Tsushima are absolute trash.
We're ready for it.
Starting with Unreal Engine 5. 1, the rocks look really pretty, but the character model looked only slightly better than a Jim Henson puppet.
Ouch.
Actually,
did no one else pick up on this?
Made some
can I make a
amazing
point
puppets.
on that, Keith? Can I make a point on that, Keith? It's really funny that the graphics of like the surroundings are getting to a point where they look photorealistic, but the people they're putting in them don't, so they just stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
that's why I definitely agree with you there. I just think
didn't bother me at all. They just went with a kind of a more like kind of Disney Pixar. I guess that's the same thing now, isn't it? It has been for a while. Aesthetic didn't bother me. We didn't really see her face anyway, so.
Yeah, we did. It was quite clear.
I mean, in the beginning, I don't know that there wasn't any like major.
We can make these statues look fucking amazing, but this person's face looks fucking weird.
It's definitely cartoony for sure.
It's stylized.
Yeah.
It's a tech demo for the environment and the new technology.
I think that's what it was there for, to show the light and all that kind of stuff, and they just put a character model in. That's kind of where I kind of got from it.
They just took it straight from Fortnite.
Well, they went to Dauntless and just chucked them in.
Is it Fortnite? If Fortnite goes in Unreal Engine 5, it's going to look very different. Right, number 2, even with all the raw power of next-gen consoles, developers still can't model realistic hair.
This is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
They come out and said that. That's the one thing they struggle to do.
It's the ongoing fight.
If you can't do hair, it's not next gen. Next gen starts when we can model hair.
But there are a few good examples of hair in games, isn't there? Like Naughty Dog seems to be very good at doing hair.
I'll get on to that.
Oh.
Right. So obviously I'm kind of taking these to the farthest possible reaches. I don't care how lovely. Number 3, I don't care how lovely the walls look. I no longer want to crawl through tight spaces to get from one area to another.
Yeah.
Done it so fucking many times, it's now a cliche.
I don't have an issue with that. I think because it worked for where it was located. Like it was in. I feel like if you were exploring in that kind of environment, you probably would have to go between a small crack. I can understand that for loading screens and stuff like that.
We've got to show it. It's now become one of the things that we have to have in games. There has to be a section where someone crawls through a tight space.
I think one of the things that, because people always associate those with game loading, it is the skies to load video games.
Yeah.
But it also isn't all of the time. Like not all of the time when that happens is it actually loading the next part of the level.
I think there's going to be an entire game that is just going to be someone crawling through tight spaces.
I can't play that game.
Called,
but sometimes they do it to create a certain atmosphere. Yeah, claustrophobic atmosphere. Yeah,
sure.
That's going to be the name of the game.
That's what we can call the game. And with the new Sony sound, it'd be perfect. Just crawl through spaces the whole time.
Most notably in the Uncharted games, where probably one of the first times I saw a character actually like kind of naturally like touch the wall of a cavern was probably Nathan Drake in Uncharted. But I think Liam, you and I went back and forth about this on Twitter or Discord or whatever it was. But I just think it's a huge mistake to put that in the game when we associate those parts with loading screens. And what you're going to do is take the average viewer is going to like, oh, okay, are they loading? And then so much so that they had to come out afterwards and say like, oh no, that wasn't a loading screen. It's like, well, you could have shown that in something.
They didn't have to show
way.
that part, did they? Yeah. They could have just skipped that bit.
I think
because also all they did was accentuate the lack of hair detail.
I'm gonna download Unreal 5.
I think one thing people need to also remember is that the public wasn't even supposed to see this. It was made for GDC. It was supposed to be screened to other developers, so other developers would understand the technology and understand that wasn't loaded. But they just decided to release it. They actually decided on a week before the day, like they gave it to Jeff Keighley. So I assume that much thought really didn't go into it.
Before I move on to Ghost of Tsushima, let's finish off talking about the Unreal Engine 5 reveal, because I did think the technology that was on display was very impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Barring the points that I've made around, I think I said on Discord, I'd want to see someone actually using this in anger. So actually developing a full game using it, not just using the high-end cinematic shots. Because I think the guys from Epic did a really good job of demonstrating what, if you were to just focus on a single slice and saying this is being used in The Mandalorian and look how gorgeous that show is, and here's what you can do with it if you were a video game developer. Obviously, that was only 5 minutes long. If you took out all the pausing and when they moved the lighting and showed you the polygons and the triangles.
The triangles, yes. The triangles.
A billion triangles on screen. I said, yeah, great, okay. The rocks look absolutely rock-like. I know graphics sell systems, but there's obviously no way that an entire game would be able to be made to look like that.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, how many terabytes of hard drive space do you expect to have to install a game where the entire game looked like that?
Not near as much as you think.
Yeah, because what they're doing, especially like rocks and trees and things like that, they're not all individual assets. It's just reusing and changing.
This is where I thought they did a really good job. Also, very good job, Sony marketing department.
Oh yeah, this thing was just marketing. There's no reason that this stuff can't be integrated into the Unreal 4 code base. But
sorry. I was going to say, do you think after, because it was announced either just before?
When you're interrupting Matt.
Yeah.
Apologise if you interrupt the rest of us.
Do you think? I know this is announced, I think, just before the Xbox stuff. They were going to announce it, but I'm not sure when it was. But do you think Sony had said, "Hold on a second, here you go," and paid Epic to actually put it out?
Absolutely.
Sony threw Epic a crap ton of cash to say how many times can you mention the power of the PlayStation 5?
That's what I was thinking.
Thanks to the PlayStation 5, this is how we can do it.
Yeah, no, it's literally somebody at Sony was like, we have a 5 in our name. You have a 5 in your name.
I am the Weaver.
As somebody who has downloaded and compiled Unreal Engine 4 on multiple occasions, one of the things that has changed drastically since it was originally released until the more recent versions is its integration with the Epic launcher and like how you get assets and bring them into your game and stuff like that, and how you share assets on the Epic store. I think one of the major changes with 5 is going to be its integration with the Epic Store itself and their move to being more of a Steam-like environment.
So what about us console plebs?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that. You're probably going to be able to port your game to all the latest consoles because they'd be stupid not to have that feature. But it's going to be way easier if you download Unreal Engine 5 to just send your game to the Epic Store than it is to anywhere else. Like, they would be stupid not to force that.
Not to mention one thing easily accessible crossplay as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, weren't Epic one of the first people to actually implement crossplay, and it was for Fortnite, and Sony were the ones who held out. So it's interesting that kind of Sony have come around to working more with Epic as working slightly against them.
Yeah.
Maybe Epic gave them a bunch of money. Please, just do it.
I think they saw how much money they were potentially missing out on.
Yeah.
And the thing that as well that I thought was really well put across by the guys from Epic was the royalty scheme for developers.
Yeah, don't pay us until you make $1 million. That's fucking crazy.
Well, and also one of the main takeaways for me was it seems like what they're trying to relay is like, hey, devs, you're not going to have to spend nearly as much time with things like baked lighting or anything like that. So when you start moving around assets, the lighting is just you can move it and it works. It's just there. Yeah. And I was listening to this this developer do basically a walkthrough of this presentation and stop it at certain points and explain what that means for devs. And a lot of the lingo I'm not very familiar with, but what I kept hearing him say over and over was like, wow, this is what we spend a lot of our time on. And that means if that's cut out of the equation, they can spend their time on other things, and that is something
Or you can make those people redundant and make even more profit.
Yeah.
There's an idea for you, games industry. Here's some new tech so you can lay some people off.
Oh, come on! Don't be so cynical all the time.
Let's
dream and hope and hope and dream.
I actually think that profession is actually highly desired for. So it actually maybe free up a few extra people to sort of go to other studios and assist them with their games instead.
It just seemed to me like
games going, we really need the person to do better lighting.
It just seemed to me like it's one of those jobs like you sit in front of your computer. It's like, I got to do the fucking Excel spreadsheet bullshit today, and then what if that day was just X'd out of your daily work schedule, and like, oh my God, I have so much time to do other things. And that's not to say that someone will put a giant stack of other things for you to do and throw it on your desk, but the idea that they can cut that out, it's like Event Horizon, you poke the hole through the paper and you can warp through time without
that's not how
moving
time and space works.
Interestingly enough, like the more
wormhole
shit,
physics, you're right,
the easier shit gets to do in these engines and in these developing environments, the more people they add to their studios to make these games. So
it never ends, right?
Yeah, there's that correlation as well. I mean, more people are getting hired on to do other shit than
maybe simplify the process.
Could you imagine you could get rid of texture popping?
Oh man!
Because
that is the possibility.
This is a possibility. Unreal Engine 5 could get rid of texture popping forever.
Well, it's not Unreal Engine 5 so much as it's the SSD.
It's the ability for the. I can't remember exactly how they described it, but it was like Mark Cerny was talking about when I stopped listening to him because he was making me fall asleep. But the streaming in of assets, so you've got the data ready in the background somehow, and then as you pan the camera, those assets stream in and out, and so you could in effect eradicate popping, because it's almost as if everything is there for when you want to look at it. It's just not held in physical memory, so you don't actually have to. Is Evan drinking sake?
Yes, I am actually. Zaku.
Nice.
Zaku impression. I got a little choco right here.
Kampai.
How's your sake knowledge, Evan? Because I got bought a bottle of sake for my wedding, and I haven't opened it yet. But I know nothing about it.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
It's something. Yeah.
Evan's the kind of guy. So, what do you drink? Normally, whatever's put in front of me.
It was used for summit, so world meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Tsushima summit. So, well, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
So it's good.
Yeah, it's
right,
so
it's good.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
Evan, was that streamed in? Was that saved in the background? That voice clip. Or was that streamed directly in on your feed?
Oh, I got a little button under this
cloud.
Yeah, I got this button under my table to pretend that someone else actually lives in the same room as I do. There is one room.
He is Mr. In-Engine.
Yeah, I am. I wrote the book, baby. One thing that I've always appreciated about jumps forward in technology is not necessarily like, oh, how great this looks or 8K textures. It's more of like a human touch to the characters. So when I first saw Nathan Drake touch the wall of a cavern naturally as he's moving across, or in the first trailer for The Division, when a guy's behind a car door and the door's slightly ajar, and as he's moving across, he just like closed it naturally and moved across. I'm like, that's the type of extra thing that makes a game just immerses you more and makes you more believable. And if what they said is true in this demo is they don't even have to animate that character. That character is just going to naturally touch surfaces. So when she goes through that door, she just kind of touches it like that. It's like, that's the type of stuff I'm more interested in than zooming in on those rocks and seeing like the definition in them.
Right.
Like that, those little aspects are the things that I think will stand out more than that type of thing.
Well, you would hope that because somebody doesn't have to do all of that design, it'll free them up to maybe make some advancements in AI design or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Which like is still the same as it was like pretty much 20 years ago. I mean, I think back on like the original Half-Life and the AI design, and that is like, well, it was like ridiculously interesting at the time, but you know, it hasn't really advanced much beyond that, like in terms of enemy design encounters, like, and things like
vision cones and all this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was it the telepathic alarm is the thing that pisses me off?
Oh my god, I was just thinking about that the other day. That shit drove me nuts. The second someone sees you, the entire base knows that you're there. Like, oh, what the fuck?
But if you wait long enough, they all forget.
Yeah. Just a bird.
Get back to my day.
It was just a bird as big as a man with a gun.
I know there's a guy who's going to probably murder me, but I'm just going to pace up and down this hallway.
I mean, I don't know. Some of that stuff you have to do though, because otherwise it's frustrating for the player, right?
In Hitman, to solve that problem, didn't really solve it. They just put like a walkie-talkie, like little like graphic on everyone's like hip, so it looked like they could all communicate via walkie-talkie.
Yeah, I mean, some games give you like Metal Gear Solid 5 will give you that it slows down while someone sees you to give you that chance to shoot at them.
Yeah.
And what I thought when that happened is like, okay, it's not slowing down. This is just, I'm such a badass assassin that I'm actually doing this at basically light speed. And this game is just showing me this is how fast he got found out to when he shot the bullet and that killed the guy.
Yeah.
Or the tranquilizer dart.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to be a nice person, a nice assassin, friendly assassin.
Right. Does anyone on anything else on the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo and post demo conf call?
Well, I was thinking because people were going on about how amazing it is. To be honest, I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I thought, oh, there's going to be a tech demo because normally tech demos are so much more than what you think is possible, and you don't really genuinely see the results from a tech demo until like later.
Yeah,
sure.
I thought this one was actually kind of lacking in that way. I thought it was interesting to see all of these amazing things, but I feel like they might have did it a little bit on purpose. It's not
this honestly feels like to me it feels like the Final Fantasy demo that they did.
Agnes's
philosophy.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, it looks a lot like that. It has a similar type of environment, but there's less going on. You don't have as many other NPCs and things like that. You know, like in that demo, it was like, oh, this is fucking amazing that you can do this because there's like all the people that she interacts with, along with shooting through the environment. And
that's actually a good point, because in this demo, it's like this is what we can do, but this is like the most vertical of slices. There's no AI present. There's no NPCs. There's no other moving parts than like the environment that you're in, and it's like, well, let's see what happens when.
But this is why I think this wasn't just, and going back to Liam's point, this wasn't potentially meant to be seen by a wide public audience.
That's true too.
Right.
So one of the things they introduced it as is this is in our movie cinematic mode, for want of the exact phrase. So, and this is the technology that's currently being used in TV and movies, so they're already using Unreal Engine 5 to do CG work in TV and movies. And now we're talking about translating that into game design. And so from that point of view, I didn't really go in with any expectations, because Epic Games weren't flashing up loads of tweets or trying to build hype saying that this was going to be live gameplay reveals.
It's a good
and
point.
They didn't have Ubisoft bullshitting.
Yeah, agreed. They didn't hype it.
So it was just here's what you can do with the new technology. And from that point of view, it had all of the things that a tech demo you would want. It had polygons, it had changes in light source, and I think that's going to be one of the main things that we can see going forward, because people have had to fake light sources up to this point.
Yeah.
So you've got to put a light source in, but then you've got to fake the fact that that's not a real source of light. So you've had to put other
shadows and things in.
Shadows and other potential light sources in different areas where there shouldn't be light sources. So make it look like the light is coming from that direction.
For me, the lighting was the best thing out of the whole thing. Like, that's what I agree with Evan. Or lighting was the best.
For how generic the climbing section was, down to the painted area where you're supposed to climb. It's like, why are you showing this? Like, this is some fucking Uncharted 1 PS3 bullshit. Like, don't remind me of other previous generations. However,
well, don't remind me of all the tropes and cliches of that are already present.
Yeah. But the light coming down, hitting the cracks and the crevices and stuff, it was looked quite nice. So.
Well, another thing that people haven't been mentioning that much is that this tech demo was finished in like mid-May. I'm sorry, not mid-May, mid-February. And it was actually running on an older version of the PlayStation 5 hardware. Like so, it's not even the full spec thing. It's the same SSD hard drive, which it is mainly a test of the SSD, but it's not the same hardware. I personally expect we'll see something pretty much comparable to that in terms of graphics in like the next year.
Yeah,
that's good to know. I mean, that's makes me hopeful. Yeah.
Right. So are we ready to move on to why Ghost of Tsushima is going to be trash?
Yes.
Yeah. I was waiting for this.
Right. So number one, black and white mode. We've got color TVs, for fuck's sake. What is this, the 1950s?
I'm really excited for black and white mode, but as I said earlier, my disappointment is that the blood isn't red. I think if they'd done that, I would have been more keen for it.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Right,
although it looked so good in black and white though. Like, wow, it looks like great. Seven Samurai, but just better.
I've got a color TV. I don't want to watch black and white movies. Fair
enough.
Number two. And there's a few aspects to number two. There is a total lack of realistic realism.
What do you mean by
explain?
That? Yeah.
Right. So there's no horse testicle physics.
Oh, man.
You don't hunt and kill all of the animals. You make friends and pet them, and they show them where they go. That's totally unrealistic.
It's great.
You kill all of the animals in games. I said, what are they on about?
Let me tell you, I live in Japan, dude. One time I was walking on the street, right? I was fucking lost. Like I didn't know where I was. I didn't have a wallet. I didn't my phone on me. You wouldn't even believe it. A fucking fox just came out of the middle of this really small alleyway in between a Lawson and a parking lot. And I was like, hey, bro, let me show you the way. That guy led me straight to my house. And
I thought you were going to say a bar.
I think they do a shrine.
Right to the bar.
Oh, no, that's what I meant. My house is the bar in this story. Like, I pat him. I was like, what do you want? Like, I owe you my life, basically. I was parched. I was on the verge of death. And he's like, you don't owe me a goddamn thing. And I prayed to my shrine, i.e. the bar. And I got like I leveled up like 5 times. It was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm sorry. Please continue.
So you don't have to get off your horse to pick up items in an overly elaborate in-engine.
I
did like that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I was like,
I love that.
This is unabashedly.
It's just not realistic.
It's
we
it's
want
unabashedly
realism.
a game. Like,
No, I'm glad that you can just do that.
yeah.
I like how they're
It's not realistic
explicitly
enough.
they're explicitly saying like we're just some stuff we're gonna do this we're not doing this part of it. Fuck that.
So like I mentioned before, wind doesn't work like that. Not realistic.
If only.
And the final not realistic bit, there's no English person, so you're actually the bad guy who's just soullessly going around murdering peaceful Mongols.
They just want to live there, man. They found a new home.
If there's no English person in a video game, who's the bad guy?
I don't like this gray world we live in. It's confusing.
Keith, I was also disturbed by the fact that I didn't see anybody realistically jumping into any hay bales.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then
From high places.
Yeah, from very high places.
As to why Ghost of Tsushima is going to be absolute trash, there's no battle royale mode.
Final nail in the coffin.
Have they learned nothing from Red Dead Redemption 2 and Fortnite?
They're not even monetizing the outfits. They're fucked.
I know.
From day one.
Utter morons. So you don't have Red Dead Redemption 2, 10 out of 10 game, and you're not killing the foxes to skin them in an overly elaborate piece of pre-rendered footage. What's up with that?
Yeah,
and there's no battle royale mode, and there's no skin economy. This game is destined to fail.
There's no bells. If Rafa, I'm just for Rafa.
There's no bells.
There's no bells.
There's no bell economy. Turnip economy. There's no turnip economy.
No turnips.
Turnip economy. No turnip, sorry.
Yeah, so there are my reasons as to why Ghost of Tsushima is going to be utter trash.
So,
right.
Keith, I take it you really like this game.
Oh, it looks so fucking good, doesn't it?
Lovely.
I will be playing it with the original Japanese voice track with subtitles, because I just think that would make it sound so much better.
In terms of immersion, it seems like both would be fine, but I think I'll do 2 playthroughs to see how the dialogue is.
I'll do one in black and white and with the Japanese voices. Then it'll be exactly like Seven Samurai.
It's so great. It's like one with samurai, one ghost, one color, one black and white, one English, one Japanese. Yeah, they're getting you from all angles.
That's pretty perfect, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think the fighting mechanics are going to be like, though?
I think the fighting looks good. It looks responsive. I don't know how it's going to feel, obviously.
I like the assassin. I like the ghost stuff. I wasn't entirely sure on the
no, you shouldn't be a dishonorable ninja.
100%. I'm all about the ghost.
The animation was so goddamn good, though. Like with the sword.
Yeah, that is true.
The way the enemies stagger away, like, oh my god.
I do like the idea of, you know how like in a lot of games like Infamous and the Mass Effect, there's like a binary choice between like the good and the bad, right? Yeah. I do like the idea of the samurai and the ghost, and the idea of the ghost being dishonorable is, in terms of being a samurai, is like you call out your opponent, you face them in battle one-on-one, you show yourself, and the idea is it's warrior against warrior, skill against skill, and you don't literally stab someone in the back or hide in the shadows. or that type of thing. And if you do that, it is dishonorable by the code of the Bushido or way of the samurai. So I do like they incorporated that in there, and it in that way it is a not binary choice, but like the idea of like following the code of the samurai or not is a black and white choice, and I like how they've integrated that in there.
I wonder if the game would be a lot harder if you could just try to play as just simply a samurai, like whether you might get sneaked up on by Mongols or things like that, because obviously they wouldn't fight in such an honourable way.
You mean the peaceful guys who just want to show up on their ships and make friends with all of the women in a village?
Yeah, they were very friendly with the. They were very, And Genghis Khan had a couple of children. Yeah,
they like your stuff so much that they're willing to take it and
burn the rest.
Not murder you for it, maybe.
If they look like they're coming up to stab you, they're just coming in for a hug from behind.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah. No, it's.
Do you think it is too explicit playthroughs, or do you think you could just go one way or the other, or you think you'll have to do both sides of it?
That is a good question. There's a couple games in recent memory that do a bad job of making the player feel like they're playing the game right. And this is a game that I really love, is Dishonored. If I'm not stealthing that game, I feel like I'm playing it incorrectly or I'm doing a bad job. And one game that I think does a great job of finding a middle ground between all-out frontal assault and stealth is Splinter Cell Blacklist, because they have the Panther, which is a combination of both. And just the addition of that just makes the player feel like, hey, stealth while you can. If shit hits the fan, then you can pull out the guns and finish the job. But it doesn't make you feel like you're not playing the game the way that the developers have designed it. And like Dan, that is a good question. I wonder how that is. Is there a middle ground between Ghost and Samurai? Because you can't be, from what I just explained, you can't be a samurai and a ghost. You're like half dishonorable. Like that's your title, the half dishonorable samurai. It doesn't really.
Because I also wonder whether you're only a ghost at night, and if there's like a day-night cycle, and in the daytime you're this samurai, and then your alter ego at nighttime is this ghost.
That would be an interesting dynamic.
Do you guys think there'll be a split narrative as well? Like, do you think that there'll be multiple endings and things like that?
Well, there was a part of the dialogue where one of the villagers in the village that they village in,
the village of villages,
yeah. He like dispatched an enemy, and the villager's like, that's not how a samurai fights, because he like, so it's like, well, okay, well, what if you're like solid samurai? That's my Metal Gear Solid name, by the way. That's what kids called me in high school. They called me Solid Samurai. If you like straight samurai the game, that wouldn't make sense if that cutscene happened. You're like, no, man, I've been fucking honorable this whole time. Don't tell me that's not how I'm supposed to fight.
Maybe it wouldn't say that.
I'm a little bit worried about that, actually.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
It also from the bits that they showed, however briefly, of say your upgrade system using charms and gear, it looks as though you are one or the other. So you have a charm that helps you with samurai combat, or you have a charm that helps you with stealth combat or assassinations. You have these outfits if you want to dress like a samurai, and these outfits if you want to dress like the ghost.
But yeah, it does.
I just wonder if you have like two builds. So as I said, like night and day. Day you're a samurai, going around. At night when you're stealthing, you're the ghost.
Well, what if in the game, like nobody actually knows that you're the ghost?
No, I don't think they do. And
it seems like you only have the mask on. You have the mask on when you're the ghost, right?
So one of them is sort of like a supernatural myth, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or something like
so
that.
one of the they said was that the Mongols will become more scared of you as you do more things as the ghost. But my thought is, if you never are the ghost, then maybe they're never scared, and they don't have. Maybe they act differently.
Yeah, they're never scared of the badass samurai who just murdered 3 people in about 2 seconds.
I don't really get that. Yeah, that was a bit.
I mean, I do get the idea of having half of your persona be something similar to Batman that uses fear and the shadows to kill people, because it's so unexpected. Like, you hear these tales of this camp that everyone got murdered and no one saw who did it. And then it's like, even in like Batman, it's like, oh, hey, I heard that he's immortal, or like he bullets don't hurt him or
Evan,
something
there's
like
a
that.
hole in your argument, which is if you kill everyone, there is no one there to say who did it.
Yeah, you let one person away. That's my excuse after you punched a hole in my
Batman
argument.
has never killed anyone. Like, never.
Batman never killed anyone.
Those bashes to the
have
head.
you seen the comics?
Well, yeah. Well, I was talking more about the Arkham
definitely
games.
fucking dead. But I think this could be one of the most interesting games that's been released in a long time. And if there is some kind of, not necessarily a morality system, but a world affecting system. So if people wanted to play purely 100%, I'm going to play as a samurai, are you forced into certain sequences? Because the game is called Ghost of Tsushima. So it would make sense that at some point you have to play as the ghost. So it makes me...
So my thought was, if you haven't done that, are you then at disadvantage because you haven't leveled up your ghost earlier on in the game, or caused them to have? I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder how that's all going to connect down the road. Maybe they just like wave it away and like we just have to like, okay, fine, whatever. This is a gameplay thing. This is a story stuff.
It's probably some type of a faction system.
Yeah,
might be.
I mean, I don't think you can do an open world game like that, because the other examples that we were talked about were Dishonored and Splinter Cell Blacklist, or that Evan mentioned. Those are decidedly like level based games. So you go through certain levels.
That is true.
It's easier to guide the
if
player.
If they had the wind mechanic where you could throw some grass up in the air and let the wind take it, they would have done that as an open world. It's just they didn't think about it. It's only Sucker Punch who thought up, I can make the wind blow in different directions than wind actually works.
Yeah.
Unless Jin has supremely powerful farts.
Just sprays. He's got assless chaps on.
Assless chaps.
Is everybody
Sorry, Matt,
here
carry
planning
on with
to
your point?
Join us next week.
I just came in to step on your lines and then make the funny.
Yeah, join us next week for episode #assless chaps. No, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm less interested in this game than everybody else. I think it's just going to be another open world action RPG.
So the atmosphere is not enough to bring you in.
It's intriguing. Sure. And I mean, one of the things that I've said in the conversations that I've had with Vin is like, I want your Edo Japan Assassin's Creed. I don't give a shit about Valhalla.
Right.
So I'm interested in that. I just don't know that I have 100 hours to go down some checklists.
No, you've got 100 hours to put in a Dauntless, though.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question?
Not there yet. Not 100 hours just yet. About probably 48.
Is everybody here? Is everybody here going to play both The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima?
No.
Yes.
No.
I am both for sure.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Keith?
I'm just playing Ghost because I have absolutely no interest in The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh yeah, you and Matt both don't like it, right?
It's
the first one, at least. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I tried playing it. Evan and I spoke about this. I think that Evan and I spoke about it.
I think I was there.
Yeah.
Well, between me, Dan, and Devon, which do you think you'll prefer over the other one?
Probably Ghost of Tsushima, because just mainly because I feel like Last of Us Part 2 will be like a nice reminder of the first one, like remembering the world, and I know it'll be better, or not better, but maybe a bit more. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but like going back in that world would be quite nice. But I think for new concepts and things like that, I think I'll prefer Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, something new. Yeah.
You're the same as well, Evan.
I mean, I'm actually more excited for The Last of Us Part 2 because
same.
I love The Last of Us so much, and I just played through it again the first time in like 7 years or whenever it came out in survival mode, where you can't listen through walls like you're fucking Superman. Totally changed the game for me, but I'm more excited for that. I do understand where Matt's coming from, because it is like, okay, yeah, the skin that's laid over this open world
gorgeous.
Is so fucking cool, and I like what they're doing with, like, they're trying to be very cinematic about it in a way that's not going to frustrate players.
Is there an in-game store?
Yeah, you got to.
I'll contact Sony for you, Keith. I'll say Keith McWomble really wants to buy skins from you. So if you set up a private store for him, he'd really appreciate it.
Actually, the fox guides you into the woods, and then he pulls a gun on you, and he's like, "Dude, you better fucking pay up right now. I'm gonna fucking kill you." Oh shit! Sorry.
You actually leads you to a store.
Yeah. But like
a store.
I get what Matt is saying about like, yeah, it is an open world. It's got like strongholds to take on and all this stuff. So I do get that part. Been there, done that type of thing. But the skin that they're putting over it is enough for me to be interested in it. However, The Last of Us is one of my favorite games in the last decade. So
I think
I'm a bit more excited for part 2 of that.
I'm interested in the game, but if I play it, I probably won't beat it. I'll probably get 15 to 20 hours in and then just never go back to it.
No, you can't do that. My OCD is like...
I think, Matt, I think it maybe the same.
You know,
because
I'll
get my £60 worth or whenever or £40 or whatever I decide to buy it and then be like, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, like once I take down the 10th fucking tower or whatever, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this again.
It's a bit of a dig there.
I'm over it. You know, like I have Origins, which I freaking love, sitting there at the 50-hour mark, and I just can't go back to it because I just can't
Too much.
Yeah. I mean,
actually, Matt, this is a good question for you. Do you think if they stripped down the open world a bit for you, do you think you might give it a fairer shake or a better chance of getting through it without all these icons
the story missions?
Yeah, I mean, if it was
not so much bloat, you know, maybe they've learned their lesson. It's like, okay, people are sick of all of this bloat. A lot of open world games in recent memory have been toning it down a bit. Like, what if there wasn't so much of that? Do you think you could get through it?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that it was going to be more like Tenchu. I was hoping that this game was going to be, you know, much more along the lines of here's a level, you go and beat the level. You have different options. You can approach it from different ways.
Levels.
Right. Here's the next level. Here's the next area. You know, like I don't need to fucking wander around.
Old people in your levels.
Just throw me in. Let me do a fucking level, and then I can be done with my night. You know.
I think I would be happier with like a God of War type of thing. So like you have an overarching area, and then you go into. I know it won't be like that because the loading. I don't know, maybe not. But I like that because it wasn't so overwhelming. You went into an area, you kind of played through it. You could obviously go back and get secrets later on, but I like that with that because it wasn't so, like you say, like hundreds of icons all over the map.
Yeah, most of the game was linear, and they had one single open world area. Same as Uncharted Lost Legacy. They had the India section that was this very short.
You mean the best Uncharted game?
It's fucking up there, man. Like I'm kind of right there with you. Like they really figured out I love how it's linear, and then they give you a chance to experience a bit of.
What do you mean linear? Linear was a Minbari in Babylon 5.
Oh my god! Fucking aluminium, herb. Man, if we need to have a knife fight in an alley, like pick the date.
You're going to want a Nintendo Switchblade.
I got two. Like as Doc Holliday said in Tombstone, I got two, one for each of you. Forward motion. Oh shit, my battery died. It doesn't work anymore.
When you stab someone with your Nintendo Switchblade, you can really feel the rumble.
That's what they meant back then.
That's a deep cut podcast reload.
That's a really deep cut that nobody knows. Absolutely nobody.
So could I ask one more question? That just it sort of pertains to the question I asked earlier.
Did we not answer that one?
Well, all of you can answer this one. It's just as to which game you think will have the higher Metacritic. Like, which one do you think will be more praised by the critics?
Last of Us Part 2, easy.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Even with the story leaks in that, I still think it's going to be Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. The press we're all unanimous. Well, I just wanted to catalogue it because I thought it would be an interesting scenario if Ghost of Tsushima is suddenly better game, you know.
So, Matt, I assume you're not a day one purchase of Ghost of Tsushima.
No.
Is anyone else day one?
That entirely depends on what my backlog looks like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot there.
I think mine will depend on how far I'm through Last of Us Part 2, but I think I probably will still buy it with day one.
Actually, that's actually a good point because you got like a month in between the two. Liam, you bring up a good point about Ghost of Tsushima is, I mean, is the story going to be good? Like, we don't really know that, do we?
No,
like,
we've
it
only
could be
just
bad, but it could be a good open world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
or it could be an awesome story and terrible open world. Who knows?
Yeah, it might be.
That too. Yeah.
Oh, can I give you guys like a very useless but very brief history lesson? Is this permitted, McWomble?
He's not watched listening.
Okay,
Keith, I need to learn because I keep failing all your tests.
All right.
So, they're not tests; they're quizzes. They're meant to be fun.
Quizzes, yeah. Oh, they are fun. That shit was great. I was like washing the dishes for the America versus England.
Next time, Evan mispronounces something, he can either call me out on it, so I can never. He can say quiz. I challenge quiz challenge. You can at any point. Fuck it. Anyone can any point issue a quiz challenge to another person on here, or not. Even if you're in the Discord chat and you disagree with something, issue a quiz challenge and we'll settle it on here live. Quiz off.
I love it. I
love it. You are the quiz master. That is for sure.
McRule, man.
So the main Mongol invasions of Japan happened in there's two main ones in 1274 and 1281.
You mean friendly visits?
Yeah, the friendly visits. Yeah, partly from China and from Korea, because Korea became a vassal state of Kublai Khan when he took over Korea. Yeah. So basically, in 74, they went to Tsushima, and there's like 80 people at the fucking at the shores, and they just the Mongols wiped them out, and then used that as a base, and then moved to northern to attack northern Kyushu, the southernmost island of the main four. And what happened was a thunderstorm eventually made them retreat and try again.
Are you spoiling the story for the game?
I don't.
It's different island.
I don't know. So this is an island, by the way, just so you don't. This is why I'm holding my hand up like this. This is an island.
I just thought you were playing that game where you put the hole in you trying to put your finger through.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Tsushima is quite a big island in between the Korean peninsula. And yes, I'm always thinking about scoring. I'm scoring it every night, by the way.
Grim, I hope your wife isn't involved.
It's not my wife yet. We got a couple months. Let's see what the coronavirus does before I.
Oh no, she won't be if you scorn her.
Oh man. So a giant thunderstorm kind of kept them from their first invasion of Japan, and then they came back with full forces. I'm talking it was tens of thousands more troops than the Japanese troops. So they tried to invade Japan again, and at that time, the typhoon season in Japan is October-ish, maybe September, October. They invaded in November, and a huge typhoon came in. We're talking thousands of ships, 100,000 troops. Japan was not ready for this invasion, and all those fucking Mongol invaders got wiped out by the typhoon.
Wow.
Which, because it was not seasonal, because it was quite odd to have a typhoon that big in November, they called it the divine wind, which we know as kamikaze, or kamikaze, sorry. And it was pretty much at that point in the history of Japan, it was a very defining moment where they pretty much believed that it was impossible to successfully invade or defeat Japan. A very dangerous mindset that kept from that point at
World War II
to World War II.
Yeah.
Which America won.
Which America back-to-back World War champs, baby.
Yeah.
You've seen the T-shirt. So basically, the word that is the first documented use of the word kamikaze as a word, the divine wind of God to protect the archipelago of Japan proper. So
they were doing the kamikaze wrong in World War II. That's where they went wrong.
Yeah, they didn't do it right. Yeah, you can't choose to do the kamikaze. It has to come from
the divine
powers.
But it was coming. Yeah. Well, in effect, it was coming from a higher power because it came from the order of the emperor, who was inherited from the divine
This may be
spirits of.
This may be an insensitive comment, but I thought that it came from amphetamines.
What
You have to
kamikaze?
explain that one because we're not getting it.
Weren't the pilots all dosed on methamphetamine when they?
Oh yeah, they were all fucking drugged up. But so
Yeah, so were the Allied soldiers.
Well,
Have
the
you not heard
Germans
of,
too. Yeah.
Have you not heard of battle fatigue pills, which we would now call ecstasy?
Oh, and by the way, I didn't just know this shit. When Ghost of Tsushima came out, I like looked all this shit up. So I'm not pretending that I'm some fucking walking encyclopedia of Japan. I absolutely fucking not. No fucking way.
Right. So getting
humble.
back to the topic, I'm guessing because I'm looking at the pre-order bonuses for the digital deluxe edition for Ghost of Tsushima.
Lovely.
One of the in-game items that you can get, £64.99 for the digital deluxe edition. Hero of Tsushima skin set, gold mask, body armor, sword kit, horse and saddle. So I'm guessing because they have the mask, at some point in the game you'll have to play as the ghost.
That's true. If you just choose to play as a samurai, you never get to use the mask. Or hate pre-order item.
Yeah, let me put a gold mask on so it just fucking reflects off the torches and
so Keith, you must be really
strongholds. Yeah.
Keith, you must be really happy. There you go. You got your in-game microtransactions right there. Because if you don't buy that, you probably can still buy it.
Microtransaction.
But you might be able to buy it later. You might have to buy it later if you miss out on the pre-order. You might be able to go in and buy that gold mask.
Yeah, look at this. This guy's so satiated. He doesn't need a fucking meal. He's got his gold mask.
Yeah, so
the
pre-order items are a mini soundtrack as opposed to a major soundtrack.
A very small one, yeah.
Yeah, a Jin PS4 dynamic theme and a Jin PS4 avatar. So they're your pre-order items, which are fucking garbage.
Where's the statue?
That's pretty bad.
I don't get a statue out of this.
It's the digital
items.
If anything, they should have given you a snow globe that you can shake and like there's like leaves that like spin around in the.
Oh, that would have been cool. But they could make it like the exact scene from the
stuff
trailer.
That we saw, or do we talk about weird shit that we're associating?
Liam, I'll go and get you a snow globe and put leaves in there for my garden and send it to you. And you can pretend.
But like leaves are too big, so you can only fit like 2 leaves in the snow globe, so they barely move. You're like, I did the best I could. I'm sorry.
All right, we are
great.
We are coming up.
There was a great
an hour
snow globe for Fargo. So when Fargo came out in DVD, you could buy the DVD with a snow globe of dude putting the other guy in the wood chipper.
Oh,
and,
God.
And the filaments or whatever it was in the snow globe were red. Were red, and you could like shake it, and it would just like be blood spraying about the snow. It was like the best snow globe I've ever seen. I gave it to my grandmom for Christmas. I'm just kidding.
All right.
There's also a $159.99 version, collector's edition.
Okay, what does that include?
Give me 2 seconds.
Does that have the statue that I want? I need another statue.
It's come with a samurai sword.
It's got the game, which is always a good start.
Sometimes they don't.
Is it a physical copy? Physical copy or digital?
No, it's Steelbook.
Oh, okay.
It's a steelbook with a download code inside.
Yes.
Is it Evan? You'll have to correct me my pronunciation on this. Is Sekai Mask and Stand?
Sekai Mask?
Yes.
I wonder what that means. Like the kanji could be slightly different. One of the readings for Sekai means world, but I'm not sure that makes sense in that context.
So I'll spell it for you. Sakai mask and stand, which I'm assuming is going to be mask. War banner, sashimono, a cloth map.
Those are always nice.
That'd be cool.
Furushiki, wrapping cloth.
Yeah, it's just like a cloth that you use to wrap various things like a bento box, or it's like multi-purpose cloth.
And a 48-page art book by Dark Horse.
Nice.
Cool.
And then you get all the digital shit that is in the other one. Yeah, for 160 quid, you can have some cloth.
And
One
at least you need to get your mask. You can walk, you can go around. You can walk around.
Yeah, that's,
you're not out of isolation in your Ghost of Tsushima mask.
Multi-purpose.
I don't know if any of you saw that there was a response to a guy walking around in full chainmail and a sword. They called the armed police to arrest him. He was just going out doing his shopping.
Jeez.
Well, we have a guy that walks around Cambridge regularly who's dressed up as a Viking.
Nice.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Right, so we've obviously exhausted talking sensibly about the topic, and we've just descended into stupidity like we normally do.
Yeah. I guess on that note, we'll call it.
Taxation is theft.
There you go.
From whom?
Who's committing the theft?
The federal
Government, man.
It's
Government, man.
yeah, it's
Right, I'm
my
gonna stop my video and I'm gonna put you on mute because I hate you all.